Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on what part of the world you're in. Welcome to this broadcast of the Wisdom Factory's Wisdom Chats, the Between the Seasons series that we're putting on for a few weeks. And tonight we're talking to three other recent graduates of Ken Wilber's SuperHuman Operating System program, which ended a few weeks ago, and people have now had a little time to digest what that was all about, and are returning into their regular lives, and probably, I hope, has had some impact on their current lives, and it will be interesting tonight to see what impact that might have been. But we have people here with us. There's people to talk to besides me.
Yes, and this is the big thing, because when we first, both of us, encountered Integral, there was nobody to talk with, because nobody was interested in it. And today we have again Bettina Hartmann from Denmark. And
hello!
From
where are you from?
Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Okay,
all right.
Good. And we have Monica from Brasile. So
Yay!
Sao Paulo.
Truly international crew here.
Yeah.
And I hope who is watching, you will be from all over the globe too and join us.
Yes. We have a section on the lower third here that says you, but I don't think that's you. I think that's us, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
it
us.
doesn't make much sense.
No. So we have already talked with Bettina alone and with Lawrence alone, and we asked them both the question, how come that you got interested in Integral, first of all, and then how come that you took this course? And today we have Monica, and she hasn't told us yet. And so we will ask her, how come that you are interested in Integral, and how come that you decided to take this course, which is not an easy thing to do at the first sight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I can say that for me, it's easier because I wake up in the another kind of see the wake up. It's another wake up very early, and for me, development and evolution, and to see the world with other perspective, and to learn how to love, and to do something good in our inner world and our outside world. For me, it's a purpose. It's something that for me it's make me feel realized and happy. And so I don't have much person to talk about it. So to be here with you and to talk about integration and development and shadows and lights and lines and colors, all about that, for me it's wonderful. Thanks to be here.
Okay. Well, that's why you're here with us tonight. Sure. I'd like to ask, have you tried other paths? Have you been involved in other developmental or self-help or spiritual programs that preceded Ken Wilber and Integral?
Well, I'm a psychologist, and I did a lot of course to development course, a lot of Enneagram.
Enneagram?
Yeah, I did Enneagram. I did a lot of things about yoga and things like that to self-development. Therapy, I did a lot, and I think it's a very good way to know about ourselves. Meditations, and I think the Ken Wilber course just put a lot of things together, but I think the hard things, the challenge, is to put in practice. So I work with people, I work with development, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, and my mission and my purpose of life is to help people, to inspire and help people to relate with ourselves first better, to relate with others better. So for me, everything that I hear or I change or with other people about Ken Wilber or other issues about development, it's very important. So here I am.
Just you're a helping kind of person. So where would that perhaps put you on the Enneagram? What type?
What type? 7. Yeah.
7. Okay.
My mother always said to me that I see with rainbow glasses. I see the world with pink glasses. Now I know that there's a lot of colors, and for me it's very important to be in reality, but to see in an optimistic and positive way. I'm a very positive person. I choose to be one. I'm born and I choose to continue.
And I am an Enneagram 6, so I'm not quite so happy about it.
I'm Enneagram.
And that's why this show happens. You know, despite all the difficulty.
You are 6, and what's your number, Heidi? Your 4. Number of the 4.
And now we come to Bettina. Just a brief introduction, and then, for instance, what Enneatype are you?
I don't know.
Okay, that's an answer.
We'll figure.
No, I tried to find out, but it was like I think I recognized myself in all of the types in a way. So actually, I've decided that one day when I got a lot of hours to spare, which has not happened yet, because there's so many interesting things to read and do, and that I have bought Helen Palmer, I think her name is, video course. And she has some interviews of people who say, I'm an 8, I'm a 1, I'm a 4, I'm a 5, and so on. And I thought maybe that could help me to find out someday. But until then, I am typeless. I'm unique.
Oh, you're just absolutely unique, Bettina.
Absolutely.
I wanted to say, Monica, I learned the Enneagram by Claudio Naranjo, and I think he is from Brazil. And he is really great. I did 5 years, 10 days retreats. I figured it out by experience, not by, trying to figure it out, but really by experiencing myself how I react, think, and do in certain situations. And then there came the realization, oh gosh, 4. I didn't want to be 4.
That's me. How interesting. How interesting.
Yeah. Oh no, he's Chilean, from Chile,
yes.
But he is working also in Brazil, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chilean, yeah.
Let's go to
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
He's probably going to say something really cryptic about his Enneagram type, if I know Lawrence.
I think I'm a 1, but I've seen 5 traits in me. And 4. I think 1 is probably my my central type.
Mm-hmm.
1's a reformer, as it's put.
Let me have a better look on your desk, because a 1 has everything in order,
correct,
and clear and done. I don't know if it is, if I can.
You show.
Pretty neat, I'd say.
It is quite neat. I cannot really see that, but
All right. Okay. That takes care of that question. All right. Okay. Well, this has been very interesting. But
Let him come back
Yeah.
and say something.
All right. So,
There we are.
We see everything.
Okay. Transparency is the name of this game.
Yeah.
And there's at the end of the show, there's going to be another little game of transparency, but I'm not going to tell you that now.
No,
Cliffhanger.
you're not
It's a
so-
surprise.
because maybe then people go away.
Oh no!
Okay.
Yeah, you can, because it would be really awkward to leave at this point. So, what
Shall I say the transparency?
you're going to tell them what the thing is?
Okay, the thing is that we are putting a lot of work in this, these transmissions and the getting people and doing and blah, blah, blah. And I find myself to work about at least 2 days the week for doing all this. We are now preparing an ebook for the last session and, quite a bit to do. So I'm looking for sponsorship. And who will give me any sponsorship? Nobody. But I figured out how to have at least a little bit by becoming an affiliate. And affiliate, for instance, of iAwake with John Dupuis, who will be the first guest in our next season, and also with SuperHuman Potential thing. So they have announced that there will be a new course in, when is it? In
a couple of weeks, no?
yeah, next week will be the free event, and then there will be another course of that. And
I haven't heard about that. When have you heard that?
I have heard it just some days ago, very late, because actually the publicity should have come out on Monday. We should have, the affiliates should have sent out the things on Monday, but we haven't got anything before yet. So I have here the affiliate links of both of that, and if there is somebody who wants to take the course or wants to use the stuff and uses our affiliate links, so we will get a little bit. Otherwise, when you go directly to the website, all the money goes to them. So if you want to sponsor us a little bit to your friends or who to take the course, so we would be very, very happy, because I'm way too. And I'm at the moment so sort of abandoned my coaching thing, to because I'm all the time in learning new and about how to use this. So that was it.
That's pretty transparent, but it's not what I had in mind at all.
Oh, what did you want?
No, I was going to homes, all by ourselves. All these
There's a
people are by
problem.
themselves. They're in private. What?
A problem with my.
What is?
I can hear you.
Monica, it's not just you. It's on my end also. They're having a lot of hesitation and breakup.
Yeah. You're cutting the voice. Thank you, Ross.
Okay.
Not to be one.
So maybe that's the problem of bandwidth. As I said, here's a storm, and we have a transmission via radio waves of the internet, so it can be a problem. So I hope you get it.
Yeah.
So you continue with
right.
your transparency.
All right. Because we are, we're all dressed on top and so forth, but at the end of the show, lift up your feet. Show us what's on your feet.
That's
On your
good.
feet. Here in the privacy of your own home.
I thought we were talking about level.
Because otherwise we are talking heads all the time.
Yes. We have
Yeah.
talking heads on sticks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, then we dive into the chat.
Yeah.
I have done my, I hope. somebody will use the links, I will come back to our normal link.
Normal link. Okay.
Okay.
So we were talking about, and
I can't hear you.
I can hear you too.
It's interesting that we can hear each other, but we can't hear Mark and Heidi.
Yeah, I think. Hello. Here in Brazil, if there's any storm, all the
maybe we should just start talking about levels. So, Monica, why don't you start to say something about levels? What does that mean to you? Why is that important?
Yeah, I think that that I have a vision that for me it's interesting that it's a star. Star? No, star, no.
A star?
Escada, no. Stairs, yeah.
Yes.
It's like a stairs. When you are, it's here, you can see what it's up, but you can see what it's down. So when you go to the other steps, you can get to the other level and to see in a more perspective and to feel differently. So for me, it's very interesting to see that way. It's simple, and I know all the traps and the difficulties and the holes that I need to do here in my inner worlds to get in the other steps in the next level. So I think it's our journey about life. We're saying here, I think it's Mark. It's up here again. We should. Hi. Again.
hello.
We're talking.
You continue.
Waiting you.
We couldn't hear you.
Did I answer you, Bettina?
Yeah. What about you, Lawrence? What does levels mean to you?
Well, two things. One thing is I don't care about levels. I'll tell you why. Because it's not actionable to think about levels. What it might be useful to do is to see where we're stuck in certain ways. Maybe, you know, if we identify primarily as, let's say, a green type, we would expect the green types to be very inclusive, and if we notice that we're kind of snobby about it, that's a fault in our development in green. So there can be a usefulness in that sense, but I personally don't care about levels. I don't care about aspiring to any of them because that's not, as I understand it, how it works anyway. To me, it's just live with integrity and develop. And the transition between levels occurs as a natural course, unpredictably.
Not like step by step, and I stairs, circle stairs like this.
No, it's more like an elevator that goes up a little bit and then goes down a little bit, and then it goes up some more, and it goes up and down and up and down. And you get out of such an elevator, it feels like the floor is moving up and down. Levels is very much like you think, well, I'm a, you know, oh, I'm only first here, I'm only orange because all I care about is achievement. But then I start having compassion much more broadly than just to my immediate concerns, and I think, well, that looks a little bit green.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realize that other times I feel really aggressive, and I, oh no, I must be only a red.
Yeah.
But no, what it is, if I'm integral, I have the capacity to function in any of the modes of any of the levels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I still find it interesting to try and be more conscious to see if there's a level I function from more than others. If I have a favorite level that I respond from, especially if that might be blocking me somehow. So I think it's an interesting way to, I look at it as the 7 chakras. You know, I need to cleanse the energy so it's flowing freely, and I want to integrate all the levels so that I'm acting healthily from all of them. And I think it's interesting for me to understand how I use them consciously and which levels I, you know, if I get afraid or angry? Do I regress to a certain level every time, or do I just use them freely if, you know, the level that is appropriate for the situation? I think that's an interesting evaluation for myself. And then I must admit that I also find it very interesting to look at cultures, even if it's a department or a company or a group or a country, to see, do they have a predominant development level they are speaking from, and what does that mean regarding my communication with them, especially if the communication is not flowing. So for me, I think it's very useful and very practical.
For me too, Bettina. I think that I'm too far to be so integral and to get in the elevator. So I think that I need to step by step integrating pieces and pieces, and the more difference the colors and the lines and more the date is the journey. For me it's better, because it's a lot of things that I need to see in myself and to understand and to integrate to be more, I don't know, more holistic. Yeah.
But
I will get there, Lawrence. I will get there. But I'm too far.
What I would like to say to that, I realized that I came, let's say, to a certain level without noticing it. And then came the awareness, I would say, by being in contact with these teachings here, and I thought, here probably I am, more or less, you know. And then I thought, how did I come here? So Lawrence, in a certain way, for me, it's right. We grow, I would say unconsciously,
Absolutely.
But it is not a necessary thing. I'm lucky to have grown up to here. There are others who don't, you know. But that's probably not so important. But I find it very helpful to know about these things. So from now on, when I got into this consciousness about growing up at the levels, then I can do something specific to help myself to grow up even further, which before, no, it just happened, you know, fell out of the blue, sort of.
Yeah. Actually, I related to what you were saying, Lawrence, about the elevator that goes up a little, down a little. And I wanted to say, yeah, it takes about 5 years to get to the next floor. It's slow. It's slow indeed.
And only overnight, and you go back to the floor.
Yeah, you know, lose a job and suddenly you're down 2 flights, you know. But I liked what you said, Lawrence, about it not mattering, because in a sense it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I know that when I met Wilber, I wanted to be as high as possible. Once that I found out there were levels, you know, I can see now that I must have been very orange to be so achievement-oriented, you know.
So it's all right to be that way.
That's part of me, of course. Yeah. And I have a rule of thumb now about whenever the conversation gets to the point where I can't really understand it, I'm just below that then in levels, you know. And a lot of turquoise talks just, gosh, that's pretty fancy vocabulary. I'm not sure what they mean by referring to so and so. I have to be a little lower to really converse at that level. But one thing I really appreciate about levels is knowing that the higher I go, concomitantly, I can also go down and appreciate the lower, the more primitive, earlier parts of me. You know, and I am having a wonderful time investigating my purple. You know, something that, as an orange person, I just rotten crap, bullshit, you know, superstition, you know, primitive, ignorant, blah, blah. It's a wonderful place to be. It really is. So it's not the original idea I had about levels, and it's probably not going to be the final idea, but this is where I am. It's a very rich life. very rich.
But Mark, I think it's interesting what you said, that some talks you feel are over your head because of your lacking of development. And I would think maybe it was lacking of development in lines. Because, for example, if someone is talking about, for example, somatic intelligence in a way that I'm not familiar with because I've never heard about it before, I wouldn't think necessarily it was because I wasn't in a specific structure level, but maybe rather that there was a line I didn't know so much about. But I don't know. That would be nice to hear your thoughts about that.
Well, I'm certain I have, very spotty development on various lines. That's for sure. According to theory, though, the primary line is the cognitive line. And that's the one where, knowing what somatic blah, blah, blah is, that's where that would fall. But I take your point. The fact that I don't know something is no particular reflection on my level. No, not at all.
Lawrence wanted to say something.
I'm sure he did.
You have cut him off.
Well, he needs to be stopped sometimes. The way he goes on.
He knows me well. Okay, here's the distinction I want to make, since we're talking about stages or levels or colors, is the distinction between the healthy form and the unhealthy form. Now, it's easy to want to put down the unhealthy form. We've got the religious right, and they make poor examples of the religion that they're supposedly representing. Then there's the healthy version.
Yeah.
I give you just a quickie little example here because I happen to like American country music, among other kinds. And there's a country station on the radio that I listen to from time to time. And listening to them, I could tell that there were healthy values. Even though they're amber, there are healthy values, and it is wholesome. It feels wholesome to me. And I've seen a certain sect of Christians around here. And likewise, there are appealing qualities to the healthy form. There's something wholesome about them. I think there's something wholesome about the red level. If you look at well-adjusted soldiers, not the traumatized ones, okay? There is obviously a dedication to the use of force when needed, but they also know their place in the power hierarchy, and they know how to speak respectfully, and they know how to listen. So there's something wholesome about that level. I think all the levels have a healthy, wholesome form that's appealing, and an unhealthy, unwholesome form that we may identify as the prime characteristic of the level, but it isn't. It's just the unhealthy form, like American capitalism. It's the unhealthy form. Capitalism.
The capitalism, sorry. Yeah.
There's a lot of unhealthy capitalism in this country, right? And people think that's capitalism. No, it's the unhealthy form. That's it.
Okay.
That's my comment.
You're done already?
Yeah!
Oh.
No, but I think it's very interesting, and that's what I meant about integrating all the levels in me, because obviously I prefer to integrate the healthy aspects, because I think it's probably better for both myself and for my surroundings. And I remember, I think I've said it before in our group, but I was sitting one day, outside on the street, just sitting, taking the sun, enjoying myself, waiting for a friend, and my bike was standing next to me, and I hadn't locked it, but I was just resting my hand on the saddle, and then I was just sitting with my eyes closed, and suddenly I could feel the shadow shifting, and I opened my eyes, and a woman was standing in front of me, trying to steal my bike. So I immediately grabbed the steer very, very firm and looked at her, and she started to give some kind of explanation that, I need this bike because someone, and it was so clear it was not a true story, and she was just trying to, she felt bad that she got caught. And I just firmly said, no. And I just looked at her, and I held my bike, and I looked at her, and she left. And I feel that was a very subtle but powerful expression of red, because of course she's not going to take my bike, and I'm not going to allow her. And I think she immediately understood that, and then she left. So I think there's if we look at ourselves, I'm sure there are little examples like that all day when we are orange and green and turquoise and red and whatever, in very healthy ways, and to be more conscious about that, and also to embrace it, and of course also to see maybe the not so healthy parts, and see how can I integrate that to a more healthy, because something is, we should probably talk about shadow another time, but
there you go.
Maybe there's what?
Somebody's favorite subject, I think, huh?
Well, no, it's on target in my view. That perhaps one of the values of knowing the descriptions of the stages is to be able to distinguish the healthy form from the unhealthy form.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
And then shadow would be the approach, because it's the shadows that create the unhealthy form.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we do a definition of shadow?
Please do.
Mm.
I wonder, maybe the psychotherapist, Monica, would you like to do a definition of shadow, or I don't know what you call it in your practice?
Yeah, for me, shadow is the part of us that we can see in a conscious way, but that we avoid, and we have we try to don't be part of, or the person can see and project with the others. So we have a dark shadow, and we have a shadow that it's the good part of us that we can't see because it's unconscious too. So we have both of this side. But I think that's it. It's a part of us that we don't have conscience, and I think that the shadow put us on the earth, and our light put us on the sky and the heaven, because the size of our light is the size of our shadow. We have both of one, so we can't do just one. I have only shine. I have only the shadow is the same size of our light. So.
Someone else has said that to me today, actually, Monica, that the greater our light shines, the greater our shadow is emerging.
Yeah, we need the shadow to see the stars. Yeah.
And it is interesting that you say emerging, because then it comes into consciousness, and in some way it's not shadow anymore.
True.
Exactly.
But I think there's a period, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 50 years, where it keeps emerging and making havoc in my life, but I'm really not quite sure what it's about. And I still call that shadow somehow, because it's making problems for me. And I can see that there's a problem, but I just don't really get what it's about.
It's a long-term relationship, isn't it? Yeah.
Sometimes it is. Yeah.
I wanted to bring in what shadow could be, for instance, collectively. I think the shadow for women is the past in the patriarchy, and that our tendency to hold back and not go out. And I think it's time that we are overcoming the shadow, that we become visible and go out, really go out, but without becoming men, in a feminine way. And that is what we are doing here too. Bettina, I remember, when we began this thing, you began to put out your photo, and before you were more hidden. I don't know, Monica, you, but I know so many women who still no, I don't want to be public. I don't want to go out.
Trust me, it's only online I was hidden.
Okay.
I don't think anybody who knows me feels that I'm hiding.
No, you are much more known in the whole world. So.
You're famous.
I don't have this problem too.
don't have that problem, Monica?
No, I don't have.
No.
I like the lights. I like to be on the, how to say, the place that we stay. Yeah, I like microphone. I like to speak with people, and a lot of them. My husband is calling me. I don't have this, but I think, just a minute. Amor, eu tô aqui na conferência. Faz o Samsung então. Beijo. He's buying a HD for me. Sorry. But I think it's something very important that for me it's important to speak, to say. I think the shadow is made about our ego. Ego.
Yeah.
The shadow, the ego built, I don't know, a shadow. What do you think about it?
I don't understand what you mean. But the shadow is about the ego, that the ego is the shadow, or what?
No, I think that the ego built the shadow, and some persons think that they are the same, the ego and the shadow, because the ego is the part of us that to make us individuals and different, and about the level of this ego and the maturity about this ego, they are making a lot of defense mechanism. And our shadow is growing in this proportion about
I don't
the
really
defense
know.
of our ego.
I'm not sure about that, because I think that we can have a healthy ego as well, and I think the healthy ego can be plain visible and not hidden. So I'm not quite sure, but of course it also means. I mean, how do you define ego? So I guess that's also a question.
I think that I'm saying not the healthy ego, but the sick ego, to build this shadow. I think it is.
It's difficult to define. I don't know if you know Roberto Assagioli, who has done a work about that. Yeah, and I think this is quite a good definition of the different levels of conscious and unconsciousness. And I'm always very unhappy with these talks about ego. It seems that people know what it is. So, and everybody says something else. So I don't know. Lawrence wants to say something.
Yeah, let's see if I can simplify this a little bit. First thing is, ego is, I think it's a Greek word. When Freud's writings were being translated, the translator decided to take Freud's words for the I and the it, which was the Ich and the S of German, and this fellow substituted a $10 word, ego, for the word I, and id for it. The ego is nothing more than the I sense and all the memories. That's all. Now there's dysfunctional ego, that means laden with shadow and crippled in various forms. And I like to describe shadow as the result of a kind of amnesia, a loss of memory of a way of being that we are still being. Let's take a little bitty example here.
I like that.
When I was a child, my brother, and he admitted this, younger brother, he used to do things to torment me, to push my buttons. And at a certain point, I started to romp on him. I started to, to get violent toward him, push him down and such. And my mother forbade that. So what happened is, in effect, all aggression, including what was protecting myself, was forbidden, and it was suppressed. And in later years, I developed a critical aversion to anybody who used violence, even if they were taking care of themselves. So I developed a bad opinion of the male of the species in general. So at the same time, I would have tremendous forces of outrage in myself, seeing, say, the injustices of the world or even personal slights. And at the same time, I wouldn't recognize that as being the same as those I criticized for being aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a kind of amnesia in me about that part of myself. And it wasn't until recently that I remembered, oh yeah, that's right. My own aggressiveness was, I was told to suppress it and required to suppress it. So I ended up being the victim of bullies. Okay? So that's my illustration of shadow there.
Yeah.
It's a function that we have that we suppress, maybe from disapproval or from horrible consequences. We still have the impulse to be that way, but it's squashed, it's kept down. But we see it in others, we criticize them for the thing that we refuse in ourselves.
Yeah.
I hope that clarified something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Yeah, very clear. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm also reminded of something Ken Wilber has said several times, that have you ever seen someone without an ego? They're borderline. You know?
Exactly. If I didn't have an ego, I didn't know where my clothes were in the morning. I didn't know that I have a job or where it was.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, I wouldn't get food. There's so many things that I wouldn't be able to handle, I think. So I love my ego.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It serves.
Healthy one.
Yeah.
If you don't have an ego and you walk into a room full of people at a party, you look around you and you go, which one is me?
Yeah.
And there are people who take over the personality of others, you know.
Will you be me for a while?
Oh, come on. Another thing, I don't know if you are aware of that, there is a big study about the ego development by Susan Koch-Reuter. And she is saying, actually, the development of the ego, of the healthy ego. So I'm really happy about that too, that there are people out there who don't trash the ego all the time and don't put it in a corner of bad and we have to get
trash. Yeah, he's not the bad guy. He's not the bad guy.
You know who trashes the ego?
Oh, a lot of spiritual types. A lot of
spiritual ego
came to us, you know, with that message that the ego must be killed.
And if you have more time, we could now go to spiritual bypassing.
Yes. This conversation has its own logic, doesn't it?
I'm not sure that anybody else follows this logic, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's integral, very integral.
Yes, but if they do follow it, they're hooked on this show. That's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because generally people who are on an ego trip who criticize others' egos because the other people's egos are doing something that they as egos don't like.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right.
So if anybody tells you have an ego problem, don't worry. It's them.
It's probably them.
But you have to understand in which context ego is used, because it can be it can get you into trouble in the wrong spots.
I wanted, you said spiritual bypassing. There is a person on Google Plus. She is called Andreas Kreska or something, and she has a blog. It is something called like bypassing spirituality, shortcuts in spirituality. And you know, she is posting wonderful things, good texts, wonderful everything. And she is very, very ill. And I now have taken on a little bit. She has opened a crowdfunding thing and is asking people to crowdfund. But she doesn't really do it in an aggressive way. And not at all for me. It would need a little bit some red or orange energy.
She's physically ill. You're not thinking about
mentally. She's physically ill. No, okay. She has Lyme disease, and she found it out, and she needs money to have a treatment because, you know. So I took on a little bit to share this her campaign, and you know, she posts things about love and wonderful, and then I thought, people, if you mean it really with love, give some money in this case. Give $5 or $10, what you can. But you know, after 4 weeks of her campaign, she has 2,000 something. and she needs 20 and more. So I'm sometimes thinking this is a sort of spiritual bypassing, to be delighted by wonderful words and to respond on that. And when you are asked, do something of the declaration of love which you are giving all the time, where are you? Where are you? You know?
So what level do you think is blocking people? Do you think it's individual, or do you think there's a certain level that is sort of the people should work with?
Oh, this is a question.
That's a good one. I think it can happen at different levels. You know, how often do I say I like a statement on Facebook, you know, and I haven't even read it, you know, I just liked it. It sounded cool. Okay, but like it. I want to support the person in some way for having posted this. But, you know, and I sign petitions, you know, without much thought at all, and then they immediately ask me for money, you know, and I feel manipulated then. But this is not the same situation. How come I was hesitant to respond to the request for money? You were not.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about when Mark's daughter was ill, and she asked her friends on Facebook to give money, and she made about $15,000 in a very short time. I mean, when you want a little bit of alternative treatment, at least in America, I don't know how it is in Denmark, but it is extremely expensive. And I always think, you know, you might be in the same situation, that you don't have any resources, you are ill, you can't go out and get money. Where do you get the money from? And I think this would be a good occasion to demonstrate your greenness, your pronounced care for other people. I mean, before green, probably it's still a little bit difficult, you know. I need my money. Yeah. I have worked so hard.
I'm really sorry about you, gosh, but yeah. You know, I'm doing okay. Thank you.
So I guess
I think.
Go on.
No, for me, it's very sad to see how much people are not connected with others, and they have no compassion because they don't not want, but they can change take the role of the other, because their own level of consciousness, and because your own paths and things that it's difficult to see this. So the whole world is just himself. And this person, it's all disconnect, and I think that's the worst disease in our world, is to be apart and to be disconnected with the others. Because if I don't feel connected with others, if I can put in this in his role and put in this side, I can help him. I can help myself either, because my vision.
That's right.
When we talked about levels, this would be then the egocentric, what we call red, but probably also a little bit in orange. I don't know. What do you think in the modern?
I think it's red. Very red.
Mm-hmm. Because in blue, in amber, this would be the conventional consciousness. There is some care, no? The churches collect money for people who are in need. Then
there's care for a group.
There's care for a group, yeah. But if you don't belong to the group, you have
That's it. Because if that person was the family, I think there some person could help and others couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
What the size of my group? It's the world, it's my country, it's my state, it's my family, it's me. What the time? What the size of my home, my world? And it's the passport to be connected and to be compassionate with others.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it could be interesting to, if you have seen the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey, where he's challenged to say yes to everything.
I saw it.
And I think it could be interesting challenge to, for example, the next 24 hours to say yes every time people ask for money, because I personally think that I would go broke very quickly. I mean, I donate a lot of money to different causes, and I've sort of decided which causes I want to give to, and then of course I also give ad hoc, but if I should say yes to every person who asked, I'm pretty sure I would go broke soon. So, but it could be interesting to see if that's just a belief I have, or whether it's actually true.
It depends how much you give. I did this as an exercise, you know, when I went to Rome for teaching, and there in every crossing there are gypsies or other people and want money. And I had little money in my car, and to everybody I gave some, and I observed how I feel about it. And there were some people I like to give it, and some people really no.
We still do that.
Huh?
We still do that.
We still do that, yeah. We have a person here in the supermarket. How is she? Where does she come from? She is slightly brown, very beautiful face, and always, you know, smiling, and I feel attracted. And every time we go there, she gets €1. It's not much, but you know, this is one of the fixed people who get the money regularly without needing to do anything, you know, and then cut a little bit.
I need to know when we are stopping, because I thought it was 1:45, and I have another call at 9. So I just wanted to check if it's okay that I say goodbye.
Yeah. Let's do a little bit of wrap up.
A little quickie.
Little quickie for everybody. What did you get out of it? What is the highlight? And why would you like maybe to come back and chat with us? So you begin because you want to go first.
You're assuming they want to come back.
I don't know. I asked him.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, I think it's interesting to explore. I'm pretty sure, I mean, my structured side is a bit challenged because I feel that we're not sticking to one topic and we're just having a nice coffee table exchange, which is very nice for the 4 or 5 of us, but I'm really not sure how it is to listen to. So I guess I would like us to be more disciplined and sort of thinking about our purpose of doing this. But otherwise, I have fun and I would love to come back.
Enneagram 1.
Enneagram 1.
Enneagram 1. Lawrence Kolnick.
Structure.
I didn't say my structured side. I have other sides.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
We'll take that. Yeah.
By the way, it's the first time that we, excuse me, the first time that we chat in this way. Before we were much more structured. The first two.
But for me, I love this kind of all messy and joy and things all together. For me, I learn a lot with this kind of just flow, let it flow, and it was very interesting and fruitful.
Good, thank you.
Good.
All right. Lawrence?
Well, first, I would say I think we've stayed pretty much on topic here. We were talking about stage levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Little excursions into explaining how shadow fits into that. I enjoy these kinds of conversations because I can actually be with people who understand me.
We're just being polite, Lawrence.
I wasn't polite today. I actually
very nice, very nice.
Okay.
And we love all numbers.
Yeah.
That's good.
And you?
Me?
And you?
Oh, well, I'm a 6. I'm just happy that I'm not afraid of anything during the show. This is great. I'm really at a loss as to say something in particular about the show. We didn't know how it was going to go. Everybody got on. We survived technically, and we're still. I think we're all smiling. I'm not sure about Lawrence, though. Anyway, the rest of us.
He's in the shadow.
He's in the shadow. So This shows success.
So let's add some feedback from the audience when Heidi has said what she wants, because it could be interesting to see what people who have listened.
I see Nicole. Tell us what you see, and who is watching on YouTube later. Tell us what you like. Better a structured thing, when we are all like.
They should work.
Or something.
The shadow, the structure is boring. Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, okay.
What do you think, Heidi?
I think that I enjoy that because it takes some pressure off me, because when we do the regular shows, I have to invite the guests, I have to prepare and do and blah, 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 blah. And here I feel I can chat. And I don't have too much preparation for everything and not too much work around it. So, where are you going? He's leaving me. Look at that.
No.
He's doing the fun part. No holes in the socks.
They're clean.
Oh, she's
barefoot.
Barefoot. Is it so warm there?
Oh, sure. Wonderful.
I have heavy socks.
Okay, friends.
Not only hair, but foot.
I really have to go. Bye-bye.
Okay,
See you next week. Bye.
See you next time. Okay. Bye-bye.
See you all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, Florence gets a pass this time, I guess.
Goodbye.
What,
Yeah.
for the foot?
Okay.
The show ended.
Look, it's like this, see? That's
Hey!
Big feet.
Yeah.
Okay, see you guys.
Bye-bye.
And next time, Coach
Yep.
Chat as it comes. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, both of you. Kisses.